Last night, at exactly 2:17 a.m., my phone began to ring. The number on the screen was mine. Not merely similar. It was my full number, including the country code, the same number printed on my business cards and displayed in my phone settings. I stared at it until the final ring. Then the call stopped. A second later, a voicemail notification appeared. I pressed play. For the first few seconds, there was only quiet breathing. Then, I heard my own voice. 10 seconds after you finish listening, someone will knock on your front door. Don't open it. The message ended. I almost laughed. Someone had spoofed my number and used software to imitate my voice. It was unsettling, but hardly supernatural. Then, someone knocked. 10 seconds after the recording stopped. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. I lived alone on the 7th floor. The building's entrance locked automatically at midnight, and the elevator had been broken all week. I approached the door without making a sound and looked through the peephole. The corridor was empty. My phone rang again. My number. This time, I answered. "Do not speak," my voice said immediately. "It doesn't know whether you're home yet." I remained silent. Turn off every light in the apartment. I should have hung up. I should have called the police. Instead, I obeyed. As soon as the last lamp went dark, something dragged a fingernail down the other side of my front door. The sound was slow and uneven, as though the finger had too many joints. "Good," the voice whispered through the phone. "Now go to the bedroom. Don't look into any mirrors." I crossed the hallway, keeping my eyes on the floor. As I passed the bathroom, I heard a soft tap against the glass inside. Then another. Something was tapping from the wrong side of the mirror. I entered the bedroom and closed the door. "Get under the bed," my voice instructed. I froze. There isn't enough room. There will be. The space beneath my bed was packed with storage boxes, but when I knelt, they were gone. Beneath the mattress was a deep black opening that seemed to extend far beyond the bedroom wall. A smell drifted from it, wet soil and old breath. I refused to crawl inside. The voice on the phone sighed. "That's what I did too." "What do you mean?" I whispered. The line went silent. Then my own voice screamed. "Why did you answer me?" Every door in the apartment slammed at once. My phone spoke again. "From now on, whatever you hear, do not answer in your own voice." A child began crying inside my wardrobe. "Dad," she whispered, "please let me out. I don't have a daughter." The wardrobe doors shook. "Dad, there's someone in here with me." I covered my mouth. The crying stopped. Something inside the wardrobe sniffed the air. Then, it spoke in my mother's voice. She had been dead for 11 years. "Daniel," it said gently. "I'm frightened." My hand tightened around the phone. "Don't listen," my voice warned. "It tries the dead first." The wardrobe doors opened by themselves. There was no one inside, only my clothes, hanging motionless in the darkness. Then, I noticed the feet. 2 bare feet were visible beneath the longest coat, facing the wrong direction. I stepped backward. The thing hidden among my clothes whispered in my mother's voice. "Tell me you remember what you did." I couldn't breathe. Nobody knew about the accident. Nobody knew I had been driving. My mother had taken the blame because I was 17. She told the police she had lost control of the car. She protected me, even after the crash left her unable to walk. She died 3 years later. The official cause was an infection, but I knew why she had stopped taking her medication. "Tell me," the wardrobe demanded. My lips parted. The voice on the phone shouted, "Don't answer." The thing stepped out. It wore my mother's nightgown, but its body was too tall and thin. Its face remained hidden behind long gray hair. With every step, its backward feet cracked against the floor and twisted around to follow it. I stumbled toward the bedroom door. "Where do I go?" I asked the phone. The thing stopped. The line became perfectly quiet. I realized my mistake. I had spoken in my own voice. My mother's shape lifted its head. There was no face beneath the hair, only a phone, pressed into a cavity where its mouth should have been. From that phone came my voice. "Now it knows which one you are." I ran into the hallway. In the mirror beside the entrance, my reflection wasn't running. It stood still, shaking its head slowly, pointing at the ceiling behind me. The tall thing wearing my mother's nightgown was crawling toward me along the ceiling. Then, my phone screen lit up. A video call had started. I saw a road at night, filmed from inside a car. Rain on the windshield, headlights swinging across wet asphalt. I knew that road. I saw my own hands on the steering wheel, 17 years old, knuckles white. And in the passenger seat, my mother turned to the camera and said, "Tell me you remember what you did." The car swerved. The screen went black. The creature dropped from the ceiling. I threw the phone at it and tore the front door open. The corridor was empty. At the far end, the elevator door stood open. The elevator had been broken all week. Inside was a woman facing the corner. She wore a hospital gown. A folded wheelchair leaned against the wall beside her, as though she no longer needed it. "Daniel," she said without turning around. "Get in. It won't follow you while I'm here." I knew that voice. I had heard it every day for 17 years, and then never again. Behind me, something walked out of my apartment. I ran into the elevator. The doors closed just before the thing reached us. As we descended, my mother finally turned around. She had a face, her real face, tired, kind, exactly as I remembered it from the hospital. "It came for you the night of the accident," she said quietly. "At 2:17. That's when the car hit the barrier. That's when it always comes." The floor numbers changed. 7, 6. It only wants one thing. A confession, spoken aloud, in your own voice. That's how it takes you. She looked down at her hands. So I answered it first. I told it I was driving. It believed me. They always believe a confession. 5. It took my legs that night. Then, slowly, everything else. But it never touched you. She smiled the way she used to smile when she was lying to me about the pain. That was the trade. 4. But trades expire, Daniel. 11 years. Then, it comes back to check who was really behind the wheel. 3. It will keep coming. Every night, at 2:17. And if it can't take you, 2. It will wait for someone you love. The way I couldn't let it wait for you. 1. The elevator stopped. The doors opened onto my bedroom. Someone was asleep in my bed. It wasn't me. It was a boy, maybe 10 years old. I had never seen him before, but he had my mother's nose and my hands. And when he stirred in his sleep, he mumbled a word that sounded like "Dad." A son I don't have. A son I might someday. The phone on the nightstand lit up and began to ring. The number on the screen was his own. The boy reached for it. "It tries the future too," my mother whispered behind me. "If there's no one left in the past." I stepped out of the elevator. I picked up the phone before the boy could touch it. And for the first time in 11 years, I answered in my own voice. "I was driving," I said. "It was me. It was always me." The line was silent for a long moment. Then, something on the other end exhaled, slow and satisfied, and my own voice, calm, almost gentle, replied, "Finally." The bedroom dissolved. The boy, the bed, the elevator, my mother's face, everything folded into darkness, and the darkness smelled of wet soil and old breath. I'm writing this from under the bed. I don't know whose bed. The space down here is bigger than it should be, and somewhere far above me, I can hear footsteps in an apartment that used to be mine. My phone still works. It only makes one kind of call. Tonight, at 2:17, it will dial a number. Someone will look at their screen and see their own number calling. And when they listen to the voicemail, they'll hear their own voice, because down here, that's the only voice the phone lets you use. If that someone is you, I need you to understand. The voice on the phone isn't the monster. It's someone like me, trying to keep you alive the way someone once kept me alive. Follow the instructions. Stay quiet. Stay hidden. And no matter what it shows you, no matter what it knows about you, remember the only rule that matters. Don't answer in your own voice. Unless you're ready to pay for what you did.